indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Thank you. Please be seated. And welcome to the Putnam County Business Council's second leadership breakfast. I'd like to introduce our board real quick. Zachary Montino, Arlene Riley, and John Krause. We also have Matt Prentice and Kathy Doherty, who would be here today. And in a little bit, we'll introduce our chairman. We have some elected officials with us today. Thank you, Mary Ellen Odell, our county chairwoman.
No entitled.
And Supervisor Schmidt from Carmel. And we also have Councilwoman Eckert from the town of Southeast. And the planning board chairman from the town of Southeast, Tom LaFerge. If I forgot any other, somebody's waiting. No, she's going to give it. Not the word. With those folks there, at this point, again, welcome all of you, and I'd like to introduce our chairwoman, Jennifer Moore, who is around here now. Thank you very much.
Good morning. So this is our second breakfast ever, and it's a decent turnout for almost August. Okay. And I was saying to somebody, this year, I've done a few events in the last few weeks. This year, more than ever, I'm getting so many oral responses. I'm away. I'm away till this date. I had more of those this year than I've seen in years. It's a great sign. People are going on vacations again. So I'm just happy that you're all here. We're gonna be building these breakfasts. We're doing them quarterly. My goal is to have the room. Marcia, where are you, Marcia?
Here I am.
How many people do you have at your breakfasts?
We have a lot of people. Sometimes we have 60 and sometimes we have
Wait,
so I think this is a fabulous group.
see, you took all my competitiveness right out of me. I was waiting for her to say she gets 125. I was gonna say my goal is 150. But thank you. So yeah, the goal is to build this. I think for businesses, breakfast is the right time. It is for me, because trying to go to something is unique. I think the evenings is something that's just a thing of the past. People are back wanting to be home with their families, still wanting to network and get out there and get to know each other. So our goal is to build this to a really large, where we need a big room and we're overflowing and standing there. So I appreciate everybody that's here and your support and our panel. So before we get to our panel, and I should never want to start. We want to honor a very dear friend who passed this year, Jimmy Reeds. And some will say, well, what does Jimmy Reeds have to do with the business community? Well, I'll tell you. So my first introduction to Jimmy Reeds, I was a new, young, stupid realtor in the county. And I met him at a parade, and nothing Jimmy loves more than a parade. And he was, doing his Jimmy Reeds thing, walking around, saying hello to everybody, shaking hands. And I was founding at that time, I like to found things apparently, but I was founding the Women's Council of Realtors of Putnam County. And I was looking for sponsors for our first event. So I was like, this is the perfect guy to ask. So I introduced myself and I say to him, and he's doing his Jimmy politician thing. Shaking hands and yes. So I said, I'd love for you to sponsor an event. Sure, how much? $500? Sure. Reach out to me on Monday. So on Monday, I just sent him an invoice. That's my style. And I find out later, Billy Sage says to me, do you know that you are the only human being that has ever gotten $500 out of Jimmy Reeds? And we became friends. And then I actually ended up in a situation where I was subleasing from Jimmy. I had my own company in Carmel at the time, In-Kind Real Property Services. He was it for me. He would come in, we would have our 6:30 a.m. chat, 6 a.m. chat, 7 a.m. He was my morning mentor friend. It was more mentor-mentee relationship at that time. And we were right on 52 in Putnam. And we did a lot of things together. And so this one particular time, we had gone to the grand opening of the Putnam County Courier. And we were there together, and we had to go to another event. And the Putnam County Courier was owned by Roger Ailes at the time and his wife Elizabeth. And at their grand opening, they had a Westchester sign, a Westchester catering company, a Westchester party rental company, and Jimmy was a little hurt. No big deal. Move on. And about 2 weeks later, 6 a.m., the market had crashed. I'm in my office crying or whatever I'm doing. He comes in to kick my ass in one of his pep talks. And as we're standing there, just before, he says to me, "Are you going to the Putnam Hospital Gala?" I said to him, "Are you going to the Putnam Hospital Gala?" He says, "Absolutely not. They are holding that gala in Greenwich, Connecticut. They want to be the hospital of the community. They should be holding the event here, blah, 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 blah." By the way, they do that now, so thank you, Putnam County Hospital. And he was right. So at the very same moment, the courier office was right next to us. Their sign company comes with a crane to hang their sign, and it's a Westchester sign company. So Jimmy was one of the very few human beings that I literally would just do whatever he said or asked. So he says, "Follow me." I say, "Okay." So we go marching into the courier office, and there's a few reporters in there, and Jimmy's, "If you want to be the paper of choice in Putnam County, you need to shop Putnam County. I went to your, just tells them all, then leaves 50 cents, take a paper, and leaves me standing there." So I make nice, think not much of it, and I leave. About 20 minutes later, my phone rings. Now, if you know a little about me, I don't watch the news at all. I don't read very little newspapers, so I'm a little ignorant. So I really didn't quite grasp who Roger Ailes was. So my cell phone rings, and I hear, "Is this Jennifer Marr?" I say, "Yes." And he says, "Is this the Jennifer Marr who brings a Putnam County judge into my place of business to tell me how to operate?" And I'm not going to throw Jimmy under the bus, so I say, I guess so. And he goes on to chew me a new one, as you put it. And back then I was the chairman of the APAC Carmel Chamber of Commerce. And the conversation was like 10, 15 minutes long, and it was pretty scary because I really didn't know who he was though at this point. So I get him to calm down a little bit, and I get him to agree that I'm going to meet with his wife. But before he hangs up the phone, Roger Ailes says to me, "Well, if you don't straighten this out, I declare war on you and that little chamber of yours." And I'm like, okay. Still have no idea, right? Still thinking, fucking Jimmy, right? So I go home that night, and I have no idea why Fox News was on, okay? There's no one in my life house. But I'm working, and it's just on in the background, and all of a sudden, as I'm typing something, I hear, "Up next, Roger Ailes declares war on President Obama." Same words he used on me. So all of a sudden, I realized who Roger Ailes was and what Jimmy got me into. But that's who he was, he's similar to me. He was going to say what was on his mind regardless of the outcome. He was going to stand up for what he felt was right regardless of what people felt, and say the wrong thing often. But he had the courage of his convictions. And I can tell you, when we founded the Putnam County Chamber of Commerce at that time, which is now the Putnam County Business Council, he was one of, maybe more in the background for me, but I can't tell you how many 5 a.m., 6 a.m. meetings I had with Jimmy Reeds, who told me, move forward, do what you have to do, and get it done. And I did. So 5 Fridays ago, and I have so many friendships. I get a call from Charles Melcher Jr., who's in the room, who really is the reason for our friendship. And so many people are the reason of my friendship is Jimmy Reeds. And I got that horrible phone call. And I literally thought it was a joke. It was a prank. There's one other person that not many of you may know, and it's funny that Tom McDonough is here today, but there was one other person that had that kind of impact on the community, just what Jimmy had done. But it wasn't quite as huge, or we didn't have social media. I mean, people knew about what happened to Jimmy within minutes. And we had to leave. We had to leave the county because we couldn't put on social media, we just couldn't do it. I've spoken to Barbara almost every day, Barbara Reeds, and her and I would love to create this scholarship foundation to keep Jimmy's legacy alive. Now, Jimmy, very much like me, imperfect. Not everybody loved him. Most people loved him tremendously. But one thing he was committed to was this community and to its youth and to the development. And nobody can deny that. So we want to be able to continue his legacy. So we're starting a scholarship fund in his name and in his honor. Barbara will be writing the criteria. And believe it or not, oh, she's here? Sorry. So Barbara will be helping to write that criteria. And I was just going to say, she told me last night that she has all kinds of notes. So I'm very excited to go through those notes. And Barbara, thank you so much for being here. And I'm sure it's not an easy thing. Your husband touched so many lives and was just a real champion for Putnam County. So thank you. I was going to do a 50-50 and I decided it's really tacky. So I'm not. If you want to just donate to the general scholarship fund, you can write a check or give us some cash, and or I did put information. This is just something new. I've had only moments to text with Barbara, and I want to make sure whatever we do is what she feels Jimmy would have wanted and would have supported. So we don't have it all quite together yet, but we will have a separate account and we'll all be going there. We'll have it together by the end of the year, and we'll have it then bigger than this and greater than this to give all the recipients their scholarships in probably May 2020. I don't know if it's to ask you to come up or not to come up. So whatever it is, if you want to come up and say a few words, I'd love to have you.
I'm gonna guess that you're all still sleeping and you're very quiet. Jim's wife, you know, all his friends, and yes, it's like a shock. You know, thinking Jim's gonna walk through that door and run through this room as he always does, but got me, and he has all of you. It's amazing to keep his legacy alive. You have to know that the youth and the families are the most important things that are met. Anything to Jim and I is how we met, working with our kids. So thank you all for coming, and thank you for loving him as much as I do. And this is just amazing tribute and legacy to what I so coming out.
I always did tell Jimmy he married way out of his league. Okay, we got through that. So, at this point, I want to bring up Mary Ellen Odell, County Executive. One time I introduced Dan Hayward as Vice President. So I can relate to those really fast. Come on, Mary Ellen.
I've been asked to talk this morning about the importance of this business council being formed and developed in Putnam County, and how the focus and the mission is to work closer with government. And the first meeting was held at Tilly Foster Farm several months ago. Time seems to have just really stopped in the last, since June 14th, that's for sure. And it was a very, very informative and very successful, I believe, launch for the Putnam Business Council. We were able to have Megan Taylor, who's the VP now for the Mid-Hudson Regional Economic Development, who was also part of my administration. We also had two young ladies from New York City. We had Ariana Kaplan, who's a colleague of mine as I serve on the board of directors for the New York State County Executives Association. Ariana is the State Legislative Affairs Director serving with the Mayor de Blasio administration. And we also had a woman, Megan Gallagher. She is a senior planner for New York City. So it was very, I thought, encouraging and exciting to have this group of women come and speak to those who were able to make the launch that morning, and to talk about how New York City and Putnam County really do connect with each other. 26% of our population commute into New York City. I thought that was a very interesting number. And they came across with some more data that I would encourage all of you to look on the website and just take a quick look at the PowerPoint presentation and see how it does relate the importance of economic development and government. And I'll even throw in there the relationship of the MTA. You know, we do have 2 rail lines that connect New York City to Putnam County and continue north. So in regards to that, the Envision Brewster project is a perfect example of a partnership being successful when it comes to government and the community and capital investors and those folks who are interested in promoting and encouraging economic growth and stability in our county. So the Envision Brewster project has been on the books for a few years now, and we have developed very strong relationships, not only with the MTA folks. Kathy Rinaldi, the president, does come and sit at the table and on the 3rd floor, as well as John Kennard and Mark Mannix, who's a senior planner also. But we also have the DEP, which have been a newer, I would call them a kinder, gentler DEP these days. They happen to be very friendly when it comes to the projects that Putnam County is interested in developing, as to help encourage good environmental restraints and promotion, and also the fact that they believe that it's very important that we continue doing the work we're doing to ensure that they have clean water in New York City. We have made some wonderful milestone achievements in this Envision Brewster project. We actually threw ourselves in for the $10 million grant, the DRI grant, that the governor's office was promoting during this round of economic funding. Now, did we think we were going to have a shot at it? We thought we would have a small shot, but that didn't discourage us, because what we have learned is that you have to continue to make these applications. You have to be in the pipeline. That is critical. There's just no other way to say, don't get discouraged, just keep applying, because eventually that pipeline will empty out wherever you are in the queue. It's only good business practice to continue to do that, and that's what we believe to do. We have our new EDC, interim president, Kathleen Abels, is on board. We're looking forward to bringing economic development along with the IDA into a closer format with the community at large, and of course with the Putnam Business Council. And in a few days we'll be announcing the new director of tourism, which just sort of rounds out, I think, a really good, strong team here in Putnam County. We are identified as being very strong in food and beverage, and that's obvious by the location that you're at right now. We have done made tremendous accomplishments here, not only on the golf side, but on the food and beverage side. So I welcome our guests from Westchester County. Certainly it's nice to see so many familiar faces. And I do want to close on a brief note about our friend, our friend, the Honorable James Rees. And I think for most of us who had a relationship with Jim, whether it was on a personal or professional level, you know that the man was a consummate gentleman. And he was a really passionate man about doing the right things for this county. And the loss is profound, to say the least. And the only way that I can really describe when we do things like we're doing this morning to remember and honor Jimmy, is for how many of you folks remember watching television in black and white? I feel like I've been watching life in black and white since June 14th. And today and all the days ahead, when we do things to honor and remember our friend, it kind of brings a little bit of color to that television. And we all remember the day we first saw our color television set, right? So I want to thank the Putnam Business Council and Jen and everyone, certainly for remembering Jimmy in the way that you have today. And I know that he would be bouncing around this room, right, Barb? He would be bouncing around this room with all of us. So let's feel his energy and his love for this county and for this community. Thank you. Before I introduce the panel, I just want to thank a few people. This event was brought in part with the New York State Commercial Association of Realtors. They founded a new chapter in Putnam and Westchester. And I want to thank our premier sponsor, Tompkins Manhattan Bank. Thank you guys so much. Tompkins Manhattan Bank has supported this group's efforts since day one, and we really appreciate it, and we are so excited to level up and to have you guys as our partner in doing that. So thank you guys very, very, very much. Do you want to say anything, anybody from the bank? Come on up.
We just want to, I spoke with my colleagues here, and we want to pledge $1,000 to the James Reed Scholarship.
Awesome, really appreciate it. Okay, so I'm going to introduce. Are you gonna sit all the way over here? That's because Brian Gaines didn't want to sit up here. Well, I'll introduce Brian Gaines first, since you're not up here. From Hudson Valley EDC, Senior Vice President. Thank you so much for being here. I ran into Brian at a New York State Commercial Association of Realtors event and said, we got to do something in Putnam soon. And just like Jimmy, we don't just talk about it, let's do it. So we did it, and I appreciate it. And we have Kathleen Abels, who is the newly appointed president. Is she coming? Come on up. Come on up. I knew there was one newly appointed president of the Putnam County Economic Development Corporation. And we have Marcia Gordon, my dear friend and mentor, who's the president of the Westchester Business Council and one of my favorite people. Thank you so much for being here. And we have Michael Kaplowitz, who is the chairman of the Westchester County, I'm just going to say Economic Development Committee, because I don't care about the rest, actually. Thank you so much for being here. And we have Ms. Amy Sage, who is the chairwoman of the Putnam County Legislature Economic Development Committee. Thank you all so much for being here. And so what I really want today to be is more like kind of like a brainstorm session. Maybe Westchester will walk away with something from Putnam, and I'm sure that we'll get lots of great ideas and thoughts from Westchester as well. But I thought we'd start with Michael giving us a little introduction to Hudson Valley EDC, and then we can get into the topics.
Good morning, everyone.
Morning.
I think Jane she told us to come here because play golf. But maybe in the afternoon we can get out and get a couple holes in. No, we're excited to see such a good turnout for this event, and I think this is going to be something we can build on as Putnam County goes forward. I want to thank the county executive for welcoming everybody and kind of setting the tone for economic development here in the county. And what Jen asked me to do is kind of give a quick overview of what Hudson Valley Economic Development is all about, and then I think we're just going to she's going to come back and start asking us some questions, and we can kind of get into the meat of the discussion. So to start, Hudson Valley Economic Development is a public benefit corporation investment. We're here to help try to attract jobs and investments into the entire Hudson Valley region. And that consists of 7 counties that make up the Hudson Valley. That's Sullivan County, Ulster, Orange County, Rockland County, Westchester, Putnam, and Dutchess County. And our job, again, is really to kind of market the assets of the region, our academic institutions, our strong workforce, our real estate assets, all of those types of things that allow or attract businesses into the region. We work closely with Marcia. Marcia sits on the governor's regional council, and I think she'll talk a little bit about kind of how that process works. It's a vital component to help attract businesses here, because that's the organization that is out the money, in essence. It gives the incentives that make some of those deals kind of come together, and that's an important component. Our job is really to work very closely with the real estate community, work with folks like Tom Perch and his team, to kind of market those key properties in the region. When companies are considering New York State or the Hudson Valley region in general, we work with them to help identify those sites, help them navigate through the approval process, the incentive process, to try to create an environment that it makes sense to do business here. It goes without saying, doing business in New York is not an easy thing to do. And we work in a very competitive environment. A lot of our border states, the states that border us, are very competitive in their incentive programs, and we're in a constant battle with the high cost of doing business here in New York. So what we need to do is really, as an organization, what we try to do is work with our county partners, is to try to highlight the assets that are within each county, and try to loop that together as a regional strategy. So, whether it's our strong academic institutions, you look at areas like in Dutchess County specifically that had Marist, and the CIA, the Culinary Institute of America, Vassar, and Bard, and some of the other academic institutions in the region. Those are strong assets that we use to try to convince companies to say that if you do locate here, there's a strong workforce, or the elements of the strong workforce that you can start to pull from. Our infrastructure is still a very strong asset for the region, while we still need to make those necessary improvements. Things like the new Maricopa Bridge has really been a tremendous, and Marcia worked very hard on making sure that came together. And she'll probably talk about that as well. But those types of infrastructure projects are absolutely critical, because when companies are considering a region, they want to make sure that all of those infrastructure elements are strong, they're robust, and that government is making the right investments to make sure that they don't crumble. And that's one thing that we have to continue to work on. Other tremendous assets to the region, and we're starting to see a lot of development opportunities. Stewart Airport, for instance, the governor has made it a priority. You see the airport, for lack of a better word, takes off and really kind of becomes very critical to the Hudson Valley region. We now have a developer who's very successful in New York State, who's now acquired a big portion of the airport, Small Development, which is now looking to really help to bring needed jobs, needed investment, and attract a lot of companies that can help change the landscape for that region. And those types of projects help our urban centers, our Poughkeepsies, our Newburgh, Kingston, and the surrounding areas, to try to have that strong basis of investment. So our job, again, is really to work with all of the counties, all of our economic development partners in the region, to help assist them on the local strategies they have, and also kind of combine that into a regional strategy. The big focus of what we do as an organization is kind of look at our key assets and try to develop a cluster development strategy to help foster development. So that's looking at our food and beverage, as the county executive said, Putnam County has a strong and growing food and beverage, tourism, and hospitality sector. And we try to link those sectors together to make sure that investment can continue and that job opportunities are available. So food and beverage is a major focus of what we're doing, and really trying to help also build on the healthcare sector that is exploding throughout the Hudson Valley, making sure that those pieces and those industries also have those workforce development support so that they are creating an environment for jobs, high-paying, high-quality jobs that allow people to live and continue to grow in the region. So we see, the economy move along pretty well here in the valley. There's certainly challenges, but we're seeing a lot of investment opportunities coming here. The pipeline is still very strong. We're seeing expansion in Orange County is still on fire. We're seeing a lot of expansion in that tourism and hospitality sector. Projects like the Legoland Resort that's under construction in Goshen. It's going to bring upwards of 1,500 new jobs to the region. We have expansion at Woodbury Commons that is also one of the largest tourism and retail destinations in the Northeast region of the country. We'll talk a little bit about Stewart Airport. We have a development project in Dutchess County called Belfield at Historic Hyde Park. It's a $500 million culinary and residential community that's currently under construction. We're seeing the expansion at Vassar Hospital in Poughkeepsie, nearly a $600 million expansion project. So we're seeing a lot of those types of investments from developers in the private sector. We want to make sure that we continue to work with our partners to support those efforts and try to make the ability to get a shovel in the ground and move the project forward as seamless and as easy as possible. So that's kind of the quick overview, and we're going to get into some specific questions from the board. Maybe we'll talk a little bit about the original.
Well, I have one question for you. So, how much do we have to bribe you to get all the RFPs to come to Putnam County first? Just kidding.
Not very much. Not very much. Listen, every county has their assets and has their challenges as well. And real estate is, any of our real estate partners here, brokers and agents will tell you, you have to have it starts with the real estate. You have to have those, it has to match up to what the criteria that the company is looking for. So there are challenges, obviously, in some of the smaller counties to meet that. We hear a lot of why does Westchester get the corporate, monsters, and why is that traditionally been the location? Because it's the close proximity to New York State. If Westchester County was where Sullivan County was, and Sullivan County was where Westchester was, and Sullivan County. It's as simple as that. So those challenges will continue. I think the most important thing is to really identify what you have and market it accordingly so that you're attracting and trying to bring in the right types of companies that can fit what you need.
Well, and the relationships are extremely important. Just real quick, Tom LaBerge, Linda Eckert, you remember very well, when Legoland has to come to Putnam County, we have a perfect piece of property. I still say that it absolutely blows away of where they decided to go. I could not get anybody to pay attention, look at it. I couldn't get Amy Vargas's office. I couldn't get a return phone call. I couldn't get anybody to listen that they should come to Putnam County. And it was Marsha Gordon who got them to finally return the call and say, Putnam's calling, and they've got a spot, and they want you to take a look at it. This is a good possibility.
Pretty good from a Westchester person to do that.
It's the only reason you got free breakfast. So that's the reason why we have Westchester County in the room, because there is strengths in the relationships, and we do all need to work together. So let's just, I guess what I want, I sent you guys some of the topics, and I really, like I said, I wanted to be more of a brainstorm. So I'm gonna just and anybody in the audience, I don't want this to be putting people on the spot and asking those. This is about collaboration and good ideas and good energy and what can we implement and move forward and move our county to the level up. That's the word of the day. So I'm just going to throw this question out there. I don't necessarily mean it as a question. It's more of a conversation. So what are some effective strategies that we could be doing or that have been done in attracting employers and industry to communities?
To jump in, Mike Kaplowitz, I ran for state senate in 2010. I'm not sure I've been back to Putnam County since. I think my visa had expired a long time ago, so if you let me back, it's good to be here. Jennifer, I apologize. I need to be out at 9, so I just thought I'd jump in. I'm very shy in New York, so I'm going to move it out of my personality. Really punchy. I chair the Economic Development Committee for the County of Westchester. Mike is wrong. If Westchester was where Sullivan is, we'd still be Westchester County. But the key word is partnership. If you're looking for partnership on the business council end, you have no better people than the two. The one to the right and the left of me, Mike and Marcia. They are doing phenomenal things throughout the region, particularly Westchester. Marcia is really the dynamo that we have down there. So spend time with her and you'll learn something. In terms of partnership with the business community, I'm a small business owner, I'm a financial planner in Somers, and I have a partnership that I've engaged in between government and industry, and that's what is manifest up here, and keep close. My urging to the Putnam County legislators, to my colleagues, and to the business owners, get to know us, spend a little more time. We need to do a better job of knowing you and vice versa. I say Westchester County Airport, and it really is misnamed. It's the regional airport for the area, and we have a lot to do in Westchester County with the present and the future of that airport. You have a stake in that airport, as Mike indicated with Stewart. You also have a county airport down there. Get involved, come and talk to us. I say Westchester Medical Center, again misnamed because it is a regional medical center with a over $1 billion economic footprint with 5,000–6,000 employees. Think of helicopters, think of a burn center between New York and Albany. Think of its regional both economic and healthcare footprint. We have a lot to do with the Westchester Medical Center and help keep it alive. If there's nothing else that I'm going to say this morning that could perhaps mean dollars in your pocket, it is LDC. Write that down. Local Development Corporation. Do you have an LDC in Putnam County? Not at this time. Go get one. LDC, whether you're aware or not, an IDA, an industrial development agency, can only deal with for-profit entities. And you have an IDA and an economic development and the like. But there is a huge market up here and a huge role of nonprofits. Think of universities. Think of healthcare facilities. Think of just the whole nonprofit world. We set up an LDC in Westchester County because the state legislature does not allow IDAs to deal with nonprofits, just a quirk in the law. And by setting up that LDC, we have incented between $500 million and $700 million worth, almost $1 billion worth of economic projects. You know the project at the Westchester Medical Center, that huge addition through the county LDC. Pace University, a $93 million expansion through the LDC. White Plains Hospital through the LDC. It brings jobs, it brings permanent jobs, it brings economic activity, and it brings inherent benefit to a community. Set that up, and it creates basically private financing run through the sausage mill of an LDC that the government entity has to sponsor, creates a tax-free financing that allows then the financing costs to come down because they're offering municipal bond rates, not corporate bond rates, right? 2%, not 6%. And that differential, the disintermediation between those two, creates the opportunity for the nonprofit to then engage in the project unto itself. So LDC, mayor packaging paper bank here, looking at that, if there's no other idea that I put forward, I certainly would recommend that. North 60. Familiar with that phrase? Anybody show of hands? North 60? North 60 are the 60 acres when you're on the Sawmill Parkway. You look to the west, to the left, beyond the Westchester Medical Center, there's a barren area. And you're thinking, what is this doing in the middle of Westchester County? Well, we have engaged in a 99-year lease with John Ferrari, and Mr. Ferrari is going to be putting in up to 3 million square feet of biotech and cutting-edge technology in partnership with the Regenerons and the Westchester Medical Center and our hospitals and our healthcare, the burgeoning and the continuing to grow segment. It's 18% of the GDP nationally. Healthcare is probably even more than that, certainly in this region. And so you're going to see in Putnam County more traffic, we're sorry, but you're going to see economic activity, home values, and you're going to see when that plays itself out, a real boost to the region, and the county legislature, I think, has wisely engaged in that. Final thing I'll say is you're welcome. We just raised our sales tax in Westchester County, and so you should be seeing a little bit more Putnam County business. If this tape gets out, my career is over. Oh, wait, I already announced I'm not running again for election. Thank you all.
Mike, of course, we talked a lot, and a lot of what you said, and probably some of the things that I said, but I just want to highlight a couple of things in terms of effective strategies to attracting employers and industry to the community. Let's put that aside. Let's not think about who we're attracting. Let's think about who is here and who we can help grow. And that is so important because most of the business growth is organic and it's sticky. If someone comes in, they can leave. But if people are rooted in this community, what can be done to help those companies grow? Remember, Regeneron started with 3 employees in a small office, and now they have 5,000 people in Tarrytown, and they're a global company. So look at what you have. As both Mike said, build on your clusters. So it's important to really understand what those clusters are. Food and beverage is obvious. Tourism is obvious. Healthcare. But I know you also do have a small, some pharmaceutical here. Do you have any advanced manufacturing here? You have a robust not-for-profit economy. So build on those clusters, see what they are, see what home-based businesses are doing and what you can do to help those home-based businesses get to the next step. A lot of people are in their homes working on apps. Maybe let's go with that.
No.
Okay.
Okay,
great. See what businesses are here. Focus on your positives, your quality of life here. Employers come to an area we know because their families live here. Their children need great schools. The spouse needs a job. You need good health care. You need good services. Our region of Putnam County has it all. And you know what? You have a lot of an advantage than Westchester because even though housing prices are high, they're lower than Westchester. And you can attract people from Dutchess, from other areas with a shorter commute. Talent, emphasize your talent. We see in Westchester that Westchester is New York's intellectual capital. See, you have really smart people and people that can go to work in these businesses. Focus on the people that you have here when you're selling Putnam to new businesses. I'm going to leave it there. There are other people to speak.
Ladies, you have anything you want to add, say?
I'm Kathleen Abels. I just began as new president of the Putnam County Economic Development Corporation starting July 1. I'm a Southeast resident. I am almost a lifetime resident of Putnam County. My family moved here when I was in 7th grade. I'm the only person in that family that assimilated to life in the country. And a lot of you I know from my former life with NYSEG, from which I retired about a year ago. During my long career there, I had the opportunity to wear many different hats. So I've done right-of-way work on, infrastructure projects, marketing, customer service, construction. I was a foreman for 4 years, and then I finally ended my career in public affairs. When I started this new life, and thank you for letting me sit at the grown-up table today, I wanted to really think about what does it mean? What does economic development mean to us? How do we enhance the lives of our residents? how do we experience growth without destroying our cherished way of life. And I came up with some goals and some ideas, and I realize now, listening to the other panelists, that all this has been thought of before. So I don't want to be redundant, but I think it's critical that we leverage our existing assets. As Marcia said, we have a highly skilled and educated workforce. Certainly we have a great transportation system with 2 interstates intersecting, the Taconic State Parkway, a rail system, proximity to 4 airports. And we have to also, support infrastructure projects so that we're ready for the future. The Economic Development Committee, we act as a facilitator, we funnel people to different incentives, but we also want to funnel people towards concepts like innovation. We want to reinforce relationships. We want to all be aligned so that we're all rowing in the same direction. Certainly if we look at the Mid-Hudson regions, their motto this year is live, work, play. It makes a lot of sense. And the other thing that makes sense is unless you're aligned with that, you're not going to get any CFA money. So right out of the gate, we all want to be on the same page, working together, not stepping on each other's toes, and to push things forward.
Amy, you want to add anything?
This is my first year as chair of the Economic Development Committee. It's my second year on the legislature. I'm relatively new to this game. I ventured in business. My husband owns a small business, and I founded a local nonprofit. I have 3 kids in the school system, so it's I have a really similar perspective to a lot of residents in Putnam County. There's a lot of passions that I have as a business person. Is to develop the infrastructure in Putnam County. I think that's key for us right now. Especially the sewer portal going down the 6th, I'd really like to see that happen. That would benefit a lot of our businesses. It's a possibility to get one of our a hotel in Putnam County, which I think would help raise money for our tourism industry. And like we heard from the other panelists, to build on our strengths. Tourism in Putnam County is, in the Hudson Valley District, the Hudson Valley region, is 2% of the entire region, whereas Westchester is 51% of the entire region. I think we have a lot of strengths here. We have a lot of room to grow, and I think adding a destination spot. Our second largest tourist industry here in Putnam County is, to my surprise, the second homes. I think around the lake. It is a vacation spot. People love to be here. So those are some other strengths that we need to build upon. Our sales tax right now is on track to exceed our budgeted amount. Thank you to Westchester County for raising yours to 80% because it's not maybe we'll see more sales tax revenue. But I really think this is a great place to live, work, and play. Putnam County is as our county executive says, open for business. I'm excited for the projects that are in the hopper right now, including a distillery in Carmel, the sewer line, and I think one of the stumbling blocks in Putnam County, maybe other areas, is if I want to open a business, how long is it going to take me to open my door? And I think that is where government needs to just get out of the way. Just let businesses, because they're the ones who are hiring, they are the ones who are paying sales tax, they are the ones that people are crossing over the border to visit, and we obviously we have to protect and protect our district, protect our citizens, and make smart choices. But I think government just needs to get out of the way and let our innovators do it.
I would thank you, Amy. I would just add that I would debate that tourism number. I think that we just don't do a really good job of tracking like other counties use, or counting, or really putting those numbers together. And as these organizations have, as we're working together in Putnam County, I think that is something that we have a huge weakness in. And we need to gather that information and get it out there. And then businesses would have something tangible. Businesses would be excited to chip in and do advertising for this and that, so that the people that are coming into the county are aware, but we don't do a good job. I mean, if you wanna know what projects are happening in Putnam County, and I'm very involved, I don't freaking know. You know, because if I'm not reading 12 different things, I don't have a way of knowing that. So that's something I would love to see the Putnam County legislature, economic committee, do a better job of having one place that you can go and see everything that's in the hopper. And like I said, I'm pretty much in the know, and I'll talk to someone from one town and I have no idea, because we can't be everywhere all the time. There's no central place for all this information. We did a industry cluster study, it's gotta be 6 years ago now. I guarantee not much has changed, but we should revamp that, because it's tourism, it's commercial recreation, and I'm sorry? Arts and recreation. So, anyway, thank you. So I'm gonna go to this one, which was the last. I wanna say, how do you guys feel the business community can help to stimulate the existing business community? And Marsha, I love what you said, because that's how I grew my company. I came from a recruiting Westchester office, and being a recruiting manager in real estate is just not fun. So I did exactly what Marsha said, and grew organically. Branding agents, turn them into producing agents. So I love that. So how can the existing business community help work together to stimulate the local economy? I would like to hear from everybody.
Well, I mean, I think one of the things that business can do, and unfortunately, we're not really good at this, is that when there are projects that are great, we need to be out there and we need to be supporting those projects. The anti-business people are out a lot, and they're out in numbers. But if we have a project that we're working on and we really want to support it, it's tough to get people out, it's tough to get people to send letters to legislators. We have to be more vocal in supporting positive, good business projects. And so that's really, really important. We have to work in partnership. Government and business have to work together. Business and not-for-profits have to work together. But I think the most important thing business can do is to get out there and to support the good projects that are out there. And also to help facilitate growth for those businesses. So we're always trying to find people to work with businesses to help them grow, to help their needs, and to be proactive in supporting each other.
I would say, obviously, and another way that I think is important is like the things we'd like to see is dollars circulating throughout the community. So getting engaged with your chambers, getting engaged with your economic development organizations, making sure that you're interacting with other businesses in the region. And one of the things that we love to see is when a developer comes in and hires local and looks to source, their contractors from the local market. And the last thing we want to see is a major project come in and and hire folks from Connecticut or Pennsylvania or New Jersey to come in, because the talent's here. That's about it. You can find it. You can find that skilled workforce for really any type of project that you have, and that's what the critical component of working on a regional basis is as well. So if you don't have it, in Putnam, you can find it in Westchester, or if you need help finding it, you can talk to Marsha. She can make those connections, or you can find it in Dutchess County and deal with the folks in Dutchess and vice versa. So making sure that the businesses are engaged in activities like this are critical. Selling, as Marsha says, selling the value of the project, to the community. So a major development of Lake land coming into Goshen, for instance, I had a lot of pushback. It was a local part of the community that was opposed to it. But what we needed to see happen, and we did start to see happen, is that small businesses in the community turn around and say, hey, we want 2 million people to come, 1.5 million people to come to Goshen to start visiting, Lakeland, because they're going to come into town. They're going to go to the restaurants and the shops, and they're going to do more. And it's going to help grow our other connected businesses to Lakewood. So making sure that part of the business community came out and was vocal in support of a major development is what helped turn the tide and make sure that project got to the approval process. So being engaged is absolutely critical. Hiring or sourcing your contractors locally and making sure that we help each other in that process. So if you know of a project that's looking for an engineering firm or an architect or a contractor, then you make sure that you tell the folks in the region that those projects are happening so that they have an opportunity to bid on them. And I think they can be very competitive in that way, and that keeps the dollars circulating throughout, the Hudson Valley.
I mean, I don't want to be a dead horse here, but I totally agree with what his commenter said is we have to get behind these good projects that are good for our economy, projects that are good for our community. And honestly, there are, a few naysayers, but there's a lot more that are on board. Every place when you run for office, you knock on doors, you talk to people, and more I hear, why don't we have this in Putnam County? Why don't we have that in Putnam County? I really want to see this in Putnam County. And then you see 3 people come out against it, and nothing happens. So I really think it's important for, and maybe that's us as lawmakers, but I'd also like to see the chambers and local business organizations, our elected officials get out there and help people understand it because it's good for our economy, it's good for our kids. I want my kids to stay here in Putnam County. I don't want them to outsource and go someplace else. So I think it's important that we get behind these projects and we have a highly trained workforce that is going outside the county. And another point I'd like to make is I don't want to look at it as, I don't want to secure Putnam County in its own bubble. I think we are a part of the region, but I think we need to reach out to these other regions. We need to have open borders in Putnam County. We need to understand what the strengths and weaknesses are of our community and focus on those so we can bring people in to our county.
You want to add anything?
Simply that one of the concepts that we've been kicking around is event-driven economic development, and by that, I want to piggyback on what Mike was saying. When you have big events, for example, the Brew Fest at Tilly Foster Farm, it brings people from other areas into the community, and there's that ancillary benefit. They go out to dinner, they take the train. I serve on the board for Friends of Lasted Park in Putnam, and they're very, very good about counting their numbers because they do a lot of things there, and they can tell you exactly how many people attend. And in doing events such as that, positive events that highlight our community, that's how you lure people to think, wow, I can live, work, and play in Putnam County, and maybe I'll bring my business here. A year or so ago, I met a gentleman, actually it was at a Hudson Valley EDC event, and he was a coopersmith. He built oak barrels, and he and his wife were living in Seattle, and they just couldn't take it anymore between high taxes and traffic, and they moved to Mid-Hudson region where their business is flourishing. So I am working now with a graphic designer from Westchester, and we're putting together a new website. It'll have 12 main landing pages. It's going to be ADA compliant. And what we're trying to do now is to leverage our social media to do outreach to get pictures to put on this website, which will help promote other businesses. But when I met with her, initially she was like, oh yeah, I went to that Brew Fest, and then I ran into Ted, and we all went out to dinner. I mean, it's a great way to boost the local existing economy, to help grow it. I look at Bethel Woods and what that has done for Bethel, New York. It's transformed the whole area. So it can be a good thing and a very positive thing. I'm looking forward to having a new neighbor across the hall from me at the Visitors Bureau. I'm working closely with Bill Milk, who is a font of knowledge. So it's all good, but we all need to be on the same page and we all need to be working together.
Agreed. And I love the event economic driving factor. However, I do think that we have to pause and figure out how do we tie the business community in. We have all these people coming into Tilly Foster from outside of the county. We have an opportunity here for them to understand how many other great things that they should be coming back for, and quite frankly, it's not happening. We don't have that information in front of them to say, well, next weekend you should come to Cold Spring, and maybe next weekend you should, go to Patterson, and you should do this. We're not, working together, so I look forward to more of that working together and making sure that information is available. And the other thing is so some of our weaknesses are why we love, what we perceive as weaknesses are also the reasons why we live here. So being in the commercial real estate, I can tell you that, not a lot of franchises want to come to Putnam County, not because they don't like Putnam County, because the traffic count just isn't there. But we just spent a week in Montauk. There's not one single franchise in Montauk, and I'm not missing one of them. No offense, I love certain franchises and so on and so forth. Has a great vital community that is booming. Their vacancy rate has gone way down, and I know we can't compare to Montauk and not the Atlantic Ocean here, but there's a lot that we can learn from that. So turn it into a strength. Support the local mom and pop, support the artisans, and that's the era that we're in and stuff. Because I hear that all the time. Why can't we have a Trader Joe's in Putnam? Okay, it's really not that big a deal to drive over to go to Trader Joe's. I don't want to encourage, spending outside of the county, but there is so much that you can. And when I moved here, I came up from the city. I was like, I can't even buy shoes. How am I going to survive? But I've not only survived, I've thrived here, and my shopping habits are just fine within Putnam County. There's lots to do, but you have to sort of, educate and promote these local businesses, and especially to the people. It still drives me nuts at how many people come through on this bike path that have no idea of what they're cycling past. So I would love to, does anybody have anything that they would like the panel to discuss? And do you want to come up just because we're video recording?
Oh, great, thanks so much.
Or speak very loudly.
I can speak very loudly.
All right.
How's that? Anyone who doesn't know me, I'm Ann Ellsworth. I'm the executive director of the Putnam Northern Westchester Women's Resource Center. Two things. One is, I feel like I live in Putnam because I'm here most of my life in my work, but I live in Nyack. Nyack has hardly any franchises in it. It is a thriving, living town, and I love it because there are strollers and there are families and there are restaurants, and Putnam reminds me of that. And I don't feel like you need franchises to make that, to build on what Putnam already has, which is the charm of Putnam, which people don't get anywhere else. And I believe that there are ways to create your downtowns to become that destination for a dinner and for a show and for local theater and things like that. The other thing from a business perspective here is we have tons of nonprofits in Putnam related to our size.
I think the largest employment sector is nonprofit. Yes.
So we're business. People like to think we're mission driven. I am mission driven, if you've ever heard me speak. But we're a business. And I am required by the state for every grant that I get to purchase 20, I forget what the percentage is, but I need to purchase my supplies, my consumables from NWBE organizations, people that are minority and women-owned businesses and disabled veteran businesses that are logged with the state. I need to tell you, I shop Putnam. I need a locksmith, I go to our chamber list. I need an accountant, I go to our chamber list. Our cleaning company is from Mayapack. We support our county. I have to buy 2 reams of paper from Hyde Park because they're the only ones on the list. And if I want to spend the money on that grant, I need to now, who would do that? Is that cost efficient? No. So I have 2 reams of paper coming, or 2 boxes of paper coming from Hyde Park, from women-owned business, because I have to spend 20% of my consumables that I'm getting at a $150,000 grant. I have to spend it outside of this county. So MWBE, as much as it's government run and pain in the, it's being taped, but if you apply, I can use you, and so can all the other nonprofits, and we can be able to grow. I want to keep our money that we bring in from Albany in this county. I have 31 employees, county, Westchester County, and mostly Putnam, because we're a local agency. So that's my 2 cents. If you guys can expand on that, I'd love it. But if it's not too much trouble, please please apply to be an MWBE so I can spend my money with you. That's what I'd like to do.
Thank you, Ann.
Sure.
Patty, what's your experience, Marshall?
Well, I think that, by the way, the MWBE is very important. I really just now become more familiar with the SDVOBs, which is the Service Disabled Veteran-Owned Businesses. I've learned there's a group in Westchester of 22 of them. We're working with a drone company, we're working with a honey baked ham company, we're working with a construction company. So if you need those kind of businesses, we have them also. You know, I think it's really important to have partnerships between government and business. Mike asked me to speak a little bit about the Regional Economic Development Council. I'm really proud to have been appointed when it just started. I think it was 9 or 10 years ago, and we have brought in millions and millions and millions of dollars to the Hudson Valley, and we have been winners, the big pie winners, for 4 or 5 times. And I want to encourage Putnam, and maybe in your new role, to really encourage more applications from Putnam County. Because frankly, we haven't seen that many. So to get out there and encourage more applications from Putnam for funding for the Regional Economic Development Council. We are a group of people, that we are an organization run by Megan Teller. Dr. Christian is the chair from SUNY New Paltz, and we work together really well. Other regions, not so well. We are a cohesive group of people that understand what the needs of the Hudson Valley are and allocate the resources around. And by the way, it's not just ESD projects. We allocate NISCA projects and Market New York projects and NYSERDA projects. So everything comes through this CFA application. The window is closed for this year. It closed last Friday, but we really market and look at the needs of each individual community. So, Putnam County, you got to get those applications in, and you have to be aggressive about talking to people, understanding who's getting funded in other parts of the valley, and do outreach to those kinds of companies and municipalities and organizations and not-for-profits to apply for that funding.
Agreed, that's like how people we meet, the one problem is it's not like one person taking ownership of that process. We're getting it out to everybody here in Putnam County, so it's definitely something I want to do. And if you're not familiar with the CFA process, it's funding available for non-for-profits, for businesses, and communities. It's money that's out there. It used to be what they call earmarked money. You go to your center and beg, and you bring back money. And you like, oh, actually, we brought a lot of money back into Putnam County, that credit. And then that money went away. John Krause, I don't know if you remember when we had Chuck Schumer, promised us $1 million for a parking lot that's finally freaking happening in Mayopack. We had, almost $1 million here, and then when the CFA process came along, and then just got washed away. But, that's exactly what that process is. It's just a different way to get money out of New York State, or we call it the Hunger Games.
A lot of projects apply for the CFA. You'll hear one, but we get funded sporadically. Number one is the state ability. You have to be able to win it.
Yeah.
But there's also another component that I think is kind of interesting, that the CFA process also helps you define your project a little bit better. So a lot of projects come to the council and come to organizations like that. Frankly, not ready. And they're not really fully thought out projects or have the financing in place or all the various components. And part of that process of applying makes you get more focused. So you'll see a lot of projects that will be rejected, maybe once, twice, a couple years in a row, redefine their project, resubmit, and ultimately get funded. So there's a value to kind of getting your act together and being in the game. Can't get it if you're not in. And number two, it helps define your project a little bit better as you go forward. So we absolutely encourage businesses here in the county to to get more engaged. It's a very easy process to kind of understand how the funding structure operates because they publish it every year. So you can see what not only projects in the Hudson Valley that have gotten funded, but projects throughout the state. And that can give companies better projects, a better idea on how to maybe reshuffle or rethink their approach to kind of take some of those best practices that not only happen here in the Hudson Valley, but could happen anywhere throughout the entire state. So what Marcia said, this year is closed, track it, find out what takes place. The awards happen in December, and then the process will likely restart again in the following year. So, the county executive talked about the DRI. It's important for Putnam to be in the game. She stressed that earlier that if you're not in it, you're certainly going to be low on the totem pole. And you have somebody that's sitting on the regional council begging you to put more things in. Yeah. So that's hear that loud and clear. That's what's absolutely critical for the county.
Is there an opportunity? Is there an opportunity zone in Putnam? No. Okay. All right. Sorry, I said that.
Is it? You can't make a.
No. It's they're already determined.
Yeah.
No, it's fine. The whole county is an opportunity zone.
Can I just mention, Jen, a couple of other things,
Yes,
and I'm
please.
just going to mention them
Actually,
quickly.
and then what I'm going to do is have each one of you just sort of give your closing thoughts.
Great.
We'll start with Marcia.
Great. I just wanted to mention a couple of things to watch, to look at, because I think you learn from seeing what other people are doing. So look at your planning and zoning processes. Very important to be business friendly. And I think a community, and it's a much bigger community than you, but there are always pieces that you can take that can spell success. Look at what's happening in New Rochelle. And what they did a complete master plan. So they just plug it into pieces. And it's really working, and businesses are flocking there, and development is flocking there. Look at another great example, I think, of a process on a different level that's worked. Westchester County has just started, and we've worked with them at the Business Council and co-chairing this, an incubator, Element 46. And we've gotten it off the ground. We have 12 businesses that are going through the incubator, and it's been a public-private partnership. So these are things to really look at together, and to have those as examples and to learn from.
Thank you. Great. Mike?
Sure. To build on that, you talk about NIAC NIAC has, Marcia pointed, it's just created a food, beverage, and hospitality incubating space with Rockland Community College, right in the heart of NIAC. Incredibly exciting because it builds on all the assets of Rockland. It brings in an academic institution. Element 46 in Westchester, as that continues to build out, will help attract and kind of bring that entrepreneurial spirit to bear. So that's helping not only get those companies up and running, helping them with access to capital, kind of helping them develop their strategy. I think somebody had mentioned earlier about the home businesses and how that's one of those elements. It's great to have a home business, but ultimately we want that business to be bigger than your home. So the incubating and accelerators are a great way to kind of take that to the next level. Orange County has really embraced this strategy over the years. Their county IDA created the Orange County Business Accelerator that's located up in Stewart Airport. It now has regional offices throughout the rest of the county, and they've been very aggressive in supporting startup businesses and emerging companies. So that's a great opportunity. We helped bring a company to the Orange County Accelerator that was manufacturing bamboo toothbrushes in China. And we helped bring them into the accelerator and talk about the nonprofit component. The owner of the company needed workers, needed a workforce to help them, do light manufacturing and packaging. So we partnered him with Abilities First, which is a wonderful organization in the region that helps adults with disabilities find meaningful work. And so it's a win-win. We help get folks in abilities first, jobs, meaningful jobs, and we help this entrepreneur connect with the accelerator so that he got additional resources and support, very similar to what the Element 46 is doing in Westchester. His business is growing. Abilities First has workers. It's a win-win all the way around. So those kind of things are good things to look at, because as we talk about, what people want in Putnam County, they want those walkable communities, they want those maybe not national brands, but they want those artisan shops, and so thinking along those lines and trying to support those businesses. There's a true proven track record in the Hudson Valley where it works. So we would encourage you to kind of talk to those other counties that have already been down that road. Element 46 in Westchester is unique because it's not done with a huge amount of dollars to pull that project together. It's a lot of volunteers. It's the county supporting it and trying to bring in smart entrepreneurs that want to take a chance and grow their business. So creating that environment can be certainly something that can be easily put in place here in Putnam County as well.
Right. It'll be one big cute town.
I think that's what, I know my kids, I have teenagers, I know my kids want to stay here, they want to live and want to play here. And they want it to be walkable. They like to hang out at our local restaurants. They don't go to, and by the way, not hitting on all of these franchises, but our franchises in Putnam County are local. They're owned by individuals and families, and not corporately owned. And they're a benefit there. I would like to see a lot of chains going out. I would like to see strip malls tearing apart. But our kids want to see walkable. Our kids want to see affordable housing. Like I said before, they are highly educated, and many times they head out of the community. We need to retain those assets because our kids and their future are the asset in Putnam County. We do have an ever-growing senior population in Putnam County. We take care of them very well because we want them to stay here. We don't want them to head down to Florida. I think our town supervisor, Kenny Schmidt, they have applied for the DRI, Downtown Revitalization grants. Very hopeful that will be under consideration this year.
CFA.
The CFA.
Yeah, and both. They apply for both.
Yeah.
Great.
Funding for both.
Yeah, you have to be in it to win it, and I thoroughly believe in that. And I'm hopeful about the future of Putnam County. I think we are a fabulous place to live. I'm very hopeful that with our future projects, our sewer line, our infrastructure, and also I think one major benefit is our rail line, our bike path. It is a destination. I sat with someone from New Jersey on the airplane, and he was talking about where we live, and I said, oh, I live in Putnam. And he goes, oh my gosh, that's where that rail trail is. I'm there every weekend. So I think we need to build on our strengths and continue to live and grow. And Putnam's open for business. I think that
Those little bike shorts have pockets where you can put credit cards and money. Okay? I know this.
building on our strengths, I think, is important.
Yes, agreed. Kathleen?
I have nothing further to add. I think everything's been covered thoroughly. I see people sneaking out, so it tells me to zip it and let everyone get on with their day.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much. You actually, we talked a lot about things that we already know, but I feel for our group, you've given us some good ideas. I just want to remind you what somebody said. So don't just support new, exciting businesses coming. We want to support the local businesses that are growing and thriving. I'm about to triple the size of mine, and we were 50% up over last year, and I couldn't be any happier, and I wouldn't want to do it anywhere else. We have infrastructure projects. We have Insight Engineering here in the room, who is the engineering firm for the Route 6 in Carmel sewer project. And it's been, I don't know, have we been talking about like 12 years, maybe more? Bill Barone is here, who's one of the businesses that will benefit, but many businesses, and Route 6 would truly benefit from having that kind of project. So how can businesses help? If you can't make it to the board meetings, then call us. Let us know your opinions so that we can help voice them, gather them together, and get them to the elected officials and give them the support that they need. The fiasco that has gone over the one little parking lot in the town of Carmel, for the hamlet of Mayapack, where my business is, where I've seen business owners have fistfights in the street over parking, is just sad, okay? It's just sad, because the businesses need the support. So that is how we help. The business community needs to be a strong voice of what we want to see in our county. And we want to be working together. We have several chambers in the room working together to make sure that that information is getting out to the elected officials to support their tasks. So, yeah.
Can I say one thing?
One thing, kind of.
Okay, this is important.
Yes.
We made significant progress negotiating with the New York City DEP
Yep.
for the Mayapack wastewater treatment plant, which is owned by New York City.
Yep.
So we've been negotiating with them for the town to take that over, operate and maintain it. And I just want to say that we've made very good progress. In the past, New York City just didn't want to negotiate at all. They've now come to the table.
Right.
So we've made very good progress, and I can update everyone later on as things progress along.
Awesome.
But they finally willing to listen to us, and they're very open-minded. And
Well, I can tell you that when I first started this endeavor, everybody said, no, you can't talk to the DEP, nothing will ever happen. Lots of things have happened.
it has
Lots
changed.
of great things have happened. You just have to try if we get it to win, like Amy said. All right, so just on a quick note before we end, I want to thank Mayapack Bank, number one, for being our sponsor, Mayapack Tompkins Bank. We'll never beat Mayapack Tompkins, Mayapack National. I'll do my best. But thank you, number one, for being our premier sponsor. Number two, for your $1,000 donation. J. Phillip Real Estate is going to, I'm not going to match $1,000 because but we're going to commit to $500 for the Jimmy Reed's scholarship fund. If anybody else would like to number one, be on the committee, because we have to form a separate foundation and we have all kinds of work to do. But I know a lot of people in the room are very passionate about keeping Jimmy's legacy alive. And not only to remember him, but to remember the example of how to live and how to be a human being. And so I'm so grateful to him and everything. And Joe Spofford dropped off a beautiful letter from the Town of Carmel Justice Court, just screaming the accolades of Jimmy Reed's, of course. So please help us build that foundation. Help us build a business community that is cohesive and communicating, and get the freaking politics out of the room, and let's level up. Thank you all. Thank you so much.